hit everyone. This is game 2 between Aaron and Staz. Welcome back everyone to the Southeast Asia Legends series number 12. Had to hop into game 2 between these two players as we did hop in a little bit late between in this game. So let's take a quick look here. Staz now playing Mage, Aaron playing Hunter. And let's take a look at what both these players have as classes. Warrior, Paladin, and Hunter for Aaron. Aaron already won or Staz already won with Hunter, so his only classes are... Staz's only classes are Warlock and Mage coming into this one. So Mana Worm coming out, but already being sniped down by a quick shot right there. So a little fun fact about Staz: has been invited and played from Season 7 to 11, won Season 9, and he knocked out his fellow countryman Chalk. And his most stable deck is Warlock and is the highest invited Legend rank Filipino player, rank 743 for Season 12, which is this season. So Aaron, playing Hunter, has a fairly large amount of cards in his hand. Knife Juggler, Coin, Animal Companion, Silverback Patriarch, Web Spinner, Freezing Trap. So kind of doubting what to play at this point, it seems. So it just decides to go for the Freezing Trap. And not even playing the web, or it does decide to play a Web Spinner at this point. Not too sure what Aaron is thinking doing that, but Staz probably gonna bust out a spell at this point just to make sure that that Web Spinner is gonna drop down without spending too much mana on it. But is gonna find a little secret triggering, Freezing Trap triggering, so that Flame Waker gonna be costing a whopping 5 mana, and Staz now being forced to use his Fire Blast to take care of that one. Let's see, Aaron getting an Angry Chicken in Rage +5 attack. That's only gonna be really helpful if Aaron draws into a Helmmaster or something like that pretty soon. And look at that, the Salty Dog, a 7/4 pirate being dropped by Staz, is running a pretty interesting deck here. To be honest, haven't seen Salty Dog played any time really. So Frostbolt lobbed across Aaron's Pilot Shredder, dropping down. Does get a Cobalt Geomancer for his trouble, but no spell damage for Aaron at this time anytime soon, unless he draws into a Kill Command, which is spell damage. But still, Aaron has to be a little bit lucky as well, as he probably needs that Knife Juggler to chuck its knives into the Salty Dog. And Angry Chicken is gonna trigger the secret, and Staz getting a copy of that Angry Chicken for himself. Now, does he have a way to trigger the Enrage? I don't think so either. So Knife Juggler, Coin, Animal Companion looking to be the play, or Silverback Patriarch to taunt it looking to be the play for Aaron at this point. Dagger landing into Chicken, making a shish kebab out of that one. Staz drawing into Fireball. Has to find a way to get rid of the entire board, as he is probably very much interested in keeping that Salty Dog alive and well for the next couple of turns. Mirror Image, Arcane Intellect, probably one of the plays that Staz wants to do, and still would have 2 mana available to Fire Blast that Angry Chicken away. And looks like Toshli is gonna be the card of choice here. Did get a Whirling Blades for that one, so Aaron now only faced with a 7/1 Salty Dog. Pretty easy to take out at this point. A lucky shot will be more than enough, but something tempting has come into Aaron's way, and that is the Houndmaster. Now the Houndmaster is going to give +2/+2 and taunt to a friendly minion, including the Angry Chicken, as it is a beast. And if Aaron actually managed to do a little bit of damage onto that one, take only a little bit of damage onto that angry chicken, then it will enrage itself and give itself +5 attack. So maybe Aaron is tempted into using that strategy now, I'd say. Now Flame Waker and Mirror Image being played in tandem. 1 damage landing onto Aaron, 1 damage landing onto Savannah Hyman. So Chicken still being very much alive and well. The Whirling Blades now being added and 2 more damage coming across. Now Chicken still surviving, and now Houndmaster onto the Chicken and attacking into the Mirror Entity is a very realistic option. Beast Companion being very tempting, and well, gets himself a Misha, so he can go for double taunt at this point. Still has the mana for the Hound Master, and I'm just begging Aaron to do it at this point. Just buff up that angry chicken and make it the strongest chicken we have ever seen, turning into a 3/3, it enraging itself, it turning itself into an 8/2 angry chicken, fulfilling our wishes and doing what we all want to see, and probably forcing Staz to use a fireball on it, or just attacking with the Flame Waker, to be really realistic, thinking about it. So Fireball coming across, Misha dropping down, 2 damage landing onto the chicken and onto the Houndmaster. 2 mana, all is needed by Staz to kill that chicken off, and he has to kill it pretty fast. Otherwise it's going to be 8 damage landing straight on his face. Chicken does drop down after use of the second fireball, killing off the Houndmaster. Now Savannah Highmane, also the last minion remaining. Time is running out on him, so it looks like he has to sacrifice either his Toshli or his Flame Waker just to get rid of that Savannah Highmane. But it looks like Aaron is feeling the offensive power here from Staz, just attacking over and over, and Aaron is now in a position where he can have double Savannah Hyman out on the field. Now looking what Aaron can do here. Both of these players in kind of a weird situation where both these players don't have a lot of cards in hand, but Aaron has that possibility to fill up his board quite effectively with the Death Rattle effect and the Savannah Highmane Staz getting another card, which is the Finicky Cloak Field. Now he's probably looking for an Archmage Antonidas at this point, now that he has that Finicky Cloak Field in his hand. Arcane Intellect to draw a couple more cards, Mirror Entity and the Azure Drake. Does he still have enough mana to play the Azure Drake? Yes, he does. 1 Hyena falling after a lucky Flame Waker passive effect there.
I wonder.
Azure Drake pulled and more cards being drawn. Finicky Cloakfield to make sure that Sorcerer's Apprentice is still alive and well, but is that really worth it? I'd probably save it until you pull that Archmage Antonidas, but it's going to use it to make sure that his mana costs will stay relatively low. 2 more damage landing onto Aaron. That Flame Waker becoming a little bit of a nuisance at this point. Aaron taking his time here, has a secret out on the field, explosive trap, so that will take care of that Sorcerer's Apprentice if Staz does decide to attack, which at one point he kind of has to, unless he magically draws all of his fireballs pretty soon. And it's just considering how he wants to play this one out, whether he wants to take care of the Azure Drake, which I feel he should, as otherwise Staz is just going to generate more spell damage advantage. So it does take care of its sorcerers, or Mad Scientist and Haunted Creeper coming out. Aaron revealing his hand here, everything he has, just to make sure that he can generate a little bit of advantage here. Emperor Thaurissan being pulled by Staz can reduce the card cost of his cards even more. Arcane Intellect coming in first to draw 2 cards. Is it gonna be anything useful? No, it is not directly. Mirror Image and the Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist might prove useful if Staz decides to play it and attack with the Sorcerer's Apprentice there. And Aaron is probably hoping that he will attack that. Staz doesn't really have anything useful. Staz has an option here to misplay huge if he does decide to attack after he decides the Mirror Image, which is a possibility, as Staz does not know what kind of secret Aaron has in his bench, so to speak. Mechanical Yeti being played. Mirror Entity as well. 2 more mana remaining. Is Staz gonna fill up the board? Yes or no? Is gonna make sure that that Savannah Highmane is dead. 2 hyenas on the field. And it looks like Staz is not gonna attack. Is just gonna pass turn. And Aaron now with a kill command in his hand can do a lot of damage here, but can also just take care of that Mechanical Yeti without an issue here. Now Aaron, 7 damage on the board, 2 as hero power, 5 in his hand is going to take care of that Mechanical Yeti, but that is going to give Staz even more card advantage. Another Finicky Cloak Field being pulled, but at this point it is going to be generating secret advantage, Freezing Trap and Explosive Trap and a Time Rewinder in his field, and Aaron is starting to hit hard onto Staz. Is looking to win game 2 unless Staz manages to pull something useful here. Counter spell whenever your opponent casts a spell. Counter hit. Emperor Thaurissan being dropped on the field. Mad Scientist dropped as well. And the Fire Blast randomly chucked towards one of the hyenas. Doesn't really matter at this point. Most of the spells in Staz's hand now costing 0 mana except for the counter spell, which costs 2. And Staz is just hoping to pull that Archmage Antonidas sooner than later. I have never seen that Golden Time Rewinder animation. Very pretty, if I do say so myself. I always like to see these golden animations go about. They always add that little bit of extra, which makes it very worthwhile to gather them. Now Secret is going to copy that Knife Juggler, so Knife Juggler for Staz there as well, but it is 2 health, so Aaron can just probably attack straight into Staz and let his Explosive Trap and his Freezing Trap do the work for him, so to speak.
Moves quickly.
Time does move quickly. Aaron does decide to take care of that Knife Juggler before anything, refusing to let his trap do the work. 2 spiders spawning and 2 daggers coming across, 2 landing into Staz, forcing his second hyena to be sacrificed. Steady Shot dropping Staz down to 13. Sorcerer's Apprentice, another one. Looks like Aaron is gonna go for the victory at this one. Counterspell now costing 0, or not 0 mana, still costing 1 mana. The rest not really mattering at this point. Mirror Entity, probably the best card to be played at this point, but is Aaron going to be attacked by Staz? He is certainly hoping for it. The counterspell being loaded up, but not ready at this point. And Staz ending his turn. Emperor Forison not really doing anything at this point. And Aaron drawing into a Dr. Boom. Can play Dr. Boom and even Time Rewinder to make sure he gets even more Boom Bots out on the field if he would choose to do so. Aaron dropping Dr. Boom, 1 dagger landing into the Sorcerer Apprentice, 2nd dagger also landing into that one. Emperor Forison taking 1 to the face as well, and pretty much only steady shot to be followed up by that one. And Staz, can you do anything? Finally pulling into your Archmage Antonidas, but is it going to be enough, yes or no? Emperor Forison is definitely going to help at some point, but 11 damage to survive. I don't think it's going to be enough with no secrets out on the field. Even attacking is now going to find the explosive trap and the freezing trap triggering, or at least the freezing trap only. And the second trap surely now being explosive trap. Archmage Antonidas followed up by the Finicky Cloak Field. It is not going to be enough. 11 health, not going to be enough to survive the next barrage of attacks incoming, especially with the Eaglehorn Bow being pulled as well. Aaron will tie up the score 1-1 in this best of 5.
Versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
I will fight with honor.
Hey there everyone, welcome back. This is game 3 between Aaron and Staz. Aaron playing Paladin, Staz playing Mage. Yet again, his previous game with Mage not working out too well, but hey, this is conquest mode, so you need to win one game with every class before you get to move on towards the next round. Speaking of rounds, this is the round of 16 if I'm not mistaken, and this is game 3 between Aaron and Staz in Southeast Asia Legends number 12. Aaron actually playing Paladin. Haven't seen Paladin a lot. I think that Paladin is one of the least represented heroes for today. Let's take a quick look here. Season 12, Shaman, Priest, and Rogue actually being the least represented class. Coming in. So, Paladin, not in the bottom 3, but definitely on the lower side here. Let's take a quick look at what Staz has for a secret here. Mirror Entity. Aaron just filling up the field with as much as possible here. Wants to keep his Silverhand recruits happy and going. Of course, it's going to be a little bit hard versus Mage, as Mage does have that possibility to take them out one by one with the Fire Blast. So you're essentially going 1-for-1 with your hero power versus minion every time. Looks like Aaron is going to go for True Silver Champion. Staz bring out the Mechanical Yeti. That is going to allow Aaron to bring out another Silverhand recruit. Is he actually going to bring that Quartermaster out this early? Yes, he is. Surprisingly, Secret is going to trigger, and a copy of that Quartermaster is going to be summoned. Of course, it will not give the Silverhand recruit on Aaron's field the buff, as it does say your Silverhand recruits, not all Silverhand recruits. Some cards do affect everything on the field. 29 now being the score for Staz. Aaron attacking left and right, spare parts being given, emergency coolant for Aaron, and a rusty horn for Staz. Staz now dropping the Emperor Coruscant, starts to gain a little bit of momentum. Here, all the cards in his hand being costing 1 less, and with Archmage Antonidas costing 7, and the Mirror Entity and the Rusty Horn now costing 0, Staz is just waiting for his fireballs to wreak havoc onto Aaron, especially if he does manage to get a Sorcerer's Apprentice out. It's going to be huge for him. Now Aaron pretty much forced to get rid of the Emperor Coruscant. Pretty much one of your prime targets when playing versus a mage. You don't want to give him too much card benefits cost, like unless the mage doesn't have too many cards in his hand, then it wouldn't really matter too much. But essentially, if you play Emperor Coruscant, you gain so much off of it. If you have like a lot of cards in your hand, you technically go +1 for each card in your hand. So Emperor Coruscant already being a relatively strong creature, costing 6 mana, but if you have 6 cards in your hands, then basically you have an Emperor Coruscant for free, because you reduce the mana cost by 1 of 6 cards in your hand, which is basically why it's such a strong card at this point. It does allow like a lot of new combos as well, with the higher card costs costing a little bit less at this point. But anyways, I am rambling. Aaron sitting at 7 mana, double Pilot Shredder, a lot of 4 mana cost cards in his hand, so not too beneficial. I would say Aaron probably going to use that True Silver Champion stack to get rid of the Azure Drake and attacking into Staz with the rest of his cards.
Reporting for duty.
Staz using that fireball pretty early there, but of course he does have the Archmage Antonidas in his back pocket, so next turn, once Staz has a little bit of extra mana, he can actually play a little bit defensively, can make sure that Archmage Antonidas actually survives. And I feel that Staz is just waiting until he has like the maximum amount of mana. So next turn has 8 mana. Archmage Antonidas costing 6 if I can see correctly. And he can bring like triple fireball in his hand, which is quite the beneficial thing. Like unless Aaron manages to heal himself up by the use of his True Silver Champion. But other than that, it's going to be a little bit hard for Aaron once he finally does face off against that Archmage Antonidas. And Staz's own Pilot Shredder now standing. Now Staz probably just wants to dump that Archmage Antonidas and dump as many spells as possible towards Aaron, just getting as much fireballs as possible, making sure that he can do a consistent 6 damage every single turn. Explosive Sheep being dropped on the field doesn't really matter at this point. Staz probably should use that. Should use those 0 mana cards just to get extra fireballs in his hand. Stone Splinter Trog, whenever your opponent casts a spell, gain +1 attack. Rusty Horn now being used. Archmage Antonidas now even getting those defensive stats, so now being an even bigger target, but it might be a little bit too little too late, as Staz now has triple fireball in his hand, including an double Arcane Intellect to keep drawing cards, and he might have another fireball stacked away somewhere in there. So Aaron, does he have a way to clear the board? Well, yes, he does. A Quality Consecration will do the trick.
Let me think.
Or just equality and attacking with the Explosive Sheep. He can even save the Consecration and use that Dr. Boom just to add some pressure out on the field. But looks like he is going to go for Consecration here. So saving the equality for a later play. I'm not too sure if that was what Aaron intended.
Reporting for duty.
Anyways, back to Staz, who's probably just gonna chuck fireballs all over Aaron at this point. Can even follow it up with the Flame Waker just to make sure that some extra damage is coming in. So one play that Staz can do, a very safe play, is Flame Waker, Fireball, and then Mirror Image to make sure he gets some extra defensive minions out there to make sure the Flame Waker is going to stand for a little bit longer. More fireballs landing left and right, and Staz pretty much has a dream hand here. Draw power and damage, all he needs pretty much at this point. Now back to Aaron. Blessing of Kings not gonna do too much. It will give a minion +4/+4, but really dropping it on Dr. Boom's not gonna do too much. Aaron hoping that the daggers are gonna be useful. One dagger landing in the Flame Waker, one landing in the Mirror Image, one landing into Staz. But even if the emergency coolant is used, even if Flame Waker is frozen to death and just does nothing, its passive is still gonna trigger off of spellcasts, and Staz does have enough for double fireball and Arcane Intellect. Emergency coolant being dropped there, but Aaron is kind of grasping at straws here. Counter spell even enough to be loaded up here just to make sure that Aaron doesn't buff up his minions. Staz pretty much having this one in the bag as far as I can tell. Fireball coming across for 6 damage, 2 damage landing. Boombot taking care of one of the mirror images though. Another fireball coming across, taking care of Dr. Boom. 2 more damage coming across. Aaron only left with 9 hit points. Arcane Intellect to follow it up with the Mana Worm and the Toshli to add insult to injury. So Aaron's minion still standing, but Blessing of Kings might help him out a little bit, but not too sure if it is actually gonna be enough. I feel that Staz might have played that one a little bit better, but Aaron still having minions out on the field. I feel that Staz might have played it a little bit better by playing the counter spell and a fireball instead, so to make sure that Aaron doesn't use any spells on the next turn. Of course he will take a little bit of damage, but still it will just ensure a steady stream of damage and making sure that any comeback that Aaron might have is disrupted. But not using the counter spell is instead saving it, so it's probably forced to use his Arcane Intellect for the next turn to draw. Meanwhile on Aaron's side has to use his Blessings of Kings now, just to buff that Knife Juggler up. Quartermaster not going to do anything. Equality not going to do anything as well. So Blessing of Kings, the strongest Knife Juggler you have ever seen. 7-4 now, and the Reinforced to land one dagger into that one as well. Mad Scientist coming out for Staz. And Staz has to use that Arcane Intellect at this point, I feel, because Tashley is not going to help at all, especially with the Equality being a card in Aaron's hand.
I wonder.
So Staz taking his time. Mana Worm coming in first, 9 mana left. I'm not too sure if that is the right decision, but as I would probably draw first, just to see what you can do, just so you can have more options. So 2 cards being drawn, Dr. Boom being one of them, and the Flame Cannon being the second, and that's going to be... Excuse me, that's going to be perfect for Staz, as now the board can be wiped out in favor of him. Flame Cannon being more than enough to take care of that pesky Knife Juggler being burnt away. And now Aaron with nothing remaining, only a Quartermaster. But he top decks into a Tyrian Fordring, putting his faith in the light. And now Staz is hard pressed to take care of that one. Has to take care of that Tyrian Fordring. First, Sorcerer's Apprentice being the card pulled by Staz. It's probably going to take away that Divine Shield by using his Fire Blast. Dr. Boom adding a lot more pressure as well. Staz having a small advantage here in the health department and on the field as well. But how is Staz going to play this one out? It's not going to attack at all. Big Game Hunter being pulled by Aaron. That is going to be enough to shoot down the Dr. Boom in Staz's possession. So no big minions for Staz at this point.
Let me think. Reporting for duty.
So, Aaron bringing out the Quartermaster, trying to bring out as big as a field as possible. Big Game Hunter sniping down that one. And Staz has to break through that 6/6 Tyrian Fordring. And pretty much the only way that he can bring in a sneak victory if those Dr. Boombots do a crazy amount of damage onto Aaron. Double 4. We have seen it happen before. Staz bringing out the Tashley emergency coolant might prove useful to make sure that Tyrian Fordring can't attack for the next turn, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Fireball coming across here. 9 damage out on the field, but the Knife Juggler coming in now. If that Knife Juggler lands a lucky knife into Staz by use of Reinforced, then it is over for him for this game at the very least. Tyrian Fordring still standing. Staz only needing one more card to win this. It's a very close knife-cutting game, but Aaron looks like he is gonna take the risk here. Uses the reinforced 1 in 4 chance. Dagger landing into Staz. Does not land into Staz. Lands into Toshli instead. So Staz having one more turn. If Staz draws into a Frostbolt or even a Fireball, I think he might have one Fireball left in his deck, as I've seen him draw into or get a lot of them because of the Archmage Antonidas. Is thinking about his options right here. He can still play the equality and get rid of everything on the field. But there is that risk that Staz will draw a crucial card next turn to turn it all around. The chance is there. 7 cards left in his deck. Slowly but surely, Arcane Intellects have been used up already. Toshli will fall. Emergency Coolant again being added to Staz's hand, so he can stall off that Tyrian Forging for another turn. The Unstable Portal being drawn by Staz has to play it at this point. There's nothing else that he can really play, and maybe he can get a Ragnaros from it or something. It looks like he gets a Mogushan Warden, so 1/7 taunt there, but I don't feel that is going to be enough with the equality in Aaron's hand. Coming out, Archmage Antonidas still a thing though. Emergency Coolant being used yet again. Counterspell loaded up as well. Mogushan Warden dropped on the field, and Staz is just stalling for time as much as possible here. Lofep coming in for Aaron, enough to play all the cards out in his hand. And Staz is just stalling for time, looking for a card that might still be in his deck that will allow him to win. That Emergency Coolant being so lucky, being given to him by Toshli's Death Rattle effect. And Aaron can't find a way to kill off his Tyrian Forger and give himself that weapon to work with, or at least make sure he can attack into that one. And if only he had a way to remove that Emergency Coolant, he's thinking. And it looks like equality is going to be the play, but the counter spell makes sure that that one is null and void. Lofeb now being the only card that Aaron has left to play at this turn, and it does come out. Reinforce coming out as well. Second dagger landing into the Warden. Staz, what is it going to be? What is your top deck going to be? The Azure Drake has to play it at this point. Though Aaron might just want, or Staz might just want to sacrifice his Mad Scientist as well, just to get a secret out. Mogushan Warden attacking, but Staz with the victory, getting rid of the Tyrian Forging. Well played by Staz. Second victory for him, and we're bringing it to game 4.
Versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine! I will fight with honor. Hey there everyone, welcome back to game 4. It's
Staz and Aaron. The score is 2-1 in favor of Staz. Aaron still has to win with his Paladin. Staz now in his last class Warlock, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of a faster game here. Remember, this is Conquest format, so you have to win with all your classes to make it all the way towards the finals. All classes victory will grant you the right to move to the next round. So Staz on his last class, which is Warlock, so let's see how this is gonna fare for him. Aaron on Paladin. So now Aaron with Equality, True Silver Champion, Elder Peacekeeper, Anti-Heal Bot, and a low feb available for him. Can't really do too much at this point. I guess that all he can do is just reinforce at this point.
Reporting for duty.
So Staz coming out with Nerubian Egg. And pretty strong board as of now. And Aaron with a consecration of his own probably wants to wipe out those spiders before he actually starts to consecrate. And Aaron does take a little bit of damage coming in from that Nerubian coming in, so we'll drop to 26 health in total. Staz sitting at 28. Both players sitting at 5 cards. Staz with a little bit of a better field though overall.
I wonder.
Now, let's take a quick look. Staz drawing into an Imp Gang boss. Still has 2 mana left. Goes for Dire Wolf Alpha, it seems. And that might be a good time as any to use that consecration from Aaron. Looks like Dire Wolf Alpha is going to be the play. Looks like Staz is just going to go towards the aggressive here. Is not going to take care of that shield and mini bot, and that is a fairly decent play by him. So why he did that, I feel like he didn't want to trigger the Haunted Creeper's Death Rattle effect just yet. It's kind of forcing Aaron to do so, forcing him to expand more resources to do so. Because if Aaron wants to trigger a Death Rattle effect like that, he has to attack with the True Silver Champion and then attack with the Shield Minibot at this point. So Aaron now with the low feb, still a relatively strong field, just not really what you would want. Again, a field like Staz is going to attack into Dire Wolf Alpha, so taking away that damage coming in. Only the Power Overwhelming really being blocked for now, but doesn't really matter too much at this point, as the rest of the cards in Staz's hand are minions. It kind of depends on how Staz wants to play this out, because Staz has been really conservative with his spiders. Those things have been standing there since forever. Abusive Sergeant now coming out as well. 3-1 Spider finally going to take care of that shielded mini bot, and Aaron dropped to 21 as he draws into a Blessing of Kings, so he can make that low feb and 9-9 should he choose so. Of course, consecration very much still a thing.
Let me think.
Consecration gonna take care of everything out on the field. Aaron playing that really well. Imp Gang boss going down, and Staz being left with an empty field now. facing off against that 5-4 Loafeb and the little silver hand recruit. What is Staz going to do at this point here? Doesn't have really too much. Can only play the Sylvanas Windrunner if he would really want to. So is going to pass turn just on that. His own Sylvanas Windrunner still available to be played here. Aaron does take care of that Sylvanas by making sure his field is empty. Still has 7 mana left. I'm not too sure if Aaron is running Muster for Battle, as I didn't see it in his previous game playing Paladin.
I have no time for
his own Sylvanas Windrunner now being dropped onto the field, but Staz probably having a response in the form of that Ironbeak Owl. And next turn can probably combo it off with a Nerubian Egg of the sorts, but Doomguard coming out early. Lord Jirax's and the Nerubian Egg being dropped. I'm not too sure why Staz is doing this, as I feel like he could have played that one a little bit better.
Follow the rules.
So Staz with the life tap, Shadow Flame coming in, Implosion, making sure to take care of that anti-heal bot. So now Staz with a little bit of a field. 4 imps join the field, no consecration for Staz. So that's going to end up for a lot of damage next turn. Big Game Hunter coming out for Aaron, being added to his hand. But really nothing else that he can play. Blessing of Kings might prove useful later on, but really, Aaron doesn't really have a benefit to play any of these cards for now. So I feel that his best play might just be to reinforce and attack into anything and then just pass turn.
Reporting for duty. To arms, men!
Now Staz looking to make a comeback here with a Direwolf Alpha. And I'm not too sure how much damage he can actually do. Has 8 plus 8 in his hand. Has 14 in total, it seems. So killing off Aaron definitely not going to happen. It already says that was probably a mistake, but at least I'm getting rid of everything out on the field. Another Direwolf Alpha being dropped for the rest of the damage coming in. And Aaron now being dropped to 14. Aaron really has to do something here, pull something useful. Muster for Battle finally being drawn here. Aaron coming out with the Muster for Battle, has to use that attack to take care of the Direwolf Alpha, otherwise would suffer a lot of damage. Staz with 5 damage on the field, plus a 4 extra in his hand for 9. If he draws something useful next turn, then probably would have lethal at this point, but draws into a Voidwalker. Tap still available, is gonna tap, draws into a Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler being dropped, Voidwalker to follow, gets at least rid of one of the Silver Hand recruits. But now, how is Staz gonna play it out? Is he gonna trade off his imps for all the Silver Hand recruits? Seems like he is going to. It's just too scared for Muster for Battle at this point. Aaron now Alder Peacekeeper being drawn Here's still nothing useful in hand. Black Knight will take care of that Voidwalker now. Blessing of Kings to follow up with that one. That's going to make a really strong Silver Hand Recruit taking care of that Knife Juggler. Still 7 damage, or 7 health remaining on Aaron. But here is the Doomguard, but oh, he is missing 2 damage, and now Staz has to hope that he is going to draw into something useful here. Implosion being the card drawn here. Is that going to be enough? Not even too sure, as Implosion is going to do a fixed amount of damage here, but if he gets 4 imps out of that one, then it will turn out to be a huge boon here. It actually can't even play the Implosion at this point, so has to pass turn here. And now Staz is just hoping that Aaron doesn't have anything in hand.
I wonder.
Aaron looking to use Aldor Peacekeeper on to the Doomguard. Doomguard will fall though. Shield Minibot added as well. And Aaron now making his last stand. Staz only needing 2 damage to win this game. Dark Bomb or Bust he is hoping. 10 cards left in his deck. Takes a little bit of damage. Is not going to survive a new turn. But Mulganus being drawn here. Now he has to make the conscious choice. Am I going to play Mulganus? Can I survive 7 damage? Well, probably yeah. 7 damage or like 7 damage will get negated so far. So that's gonna be what? The Shielded Minibot and the Silver Hand Recruit, and we'll still have 12, 13 damage coming in form of the Lights, Justice, and everything else on the board. So that does mean that he can't tap anymore. So it's either tapping now or never. There's really no other choice that he can make at this point.
So many possibilities.
Staz considering his options here, but Mulganus not going to help him out anytime soon unless Aaron decides to play really badly. Void Caller coming out, and that is game as far as I can see. The Void Caller coming out, but is he going to use Implosion on the Void Caller? Yes, he is, as a desperation play, but doesn't get it. Only 2 damage. Turn is passed over, and the Quartermaster top deck from Aaron is going to make the score 2-2. We're heading into a game 5.
versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine! Victory or death!
Hey there everyone, welcome back. This is game 5 between Aaron and Staz, the deciding factor who gets to go to the round of 8 if I'm not mistaken. So there's going to be 3 more Hearthstone matches loaded up for you guys in the early morning where it is for me, or the late hours where it might be for you. So we're going to have a Warrior versus Warlock matchup, so it looks like we're in here for the long haul. Judging by Aaron's card here, looks like he's playing the older build of Warrior where he just like control and rack up a lot. Now Staz already preparing for that, has an Acidic Swamp Ooze in his hand, so it's kind of stacking up armor against slicing herself in the wrist, it seems, and looks like it's going to be a long game for both of these players. Mountain Giant, the first card coming out for Staz. And looks like Aaron is kind of forced to play Shield Slam Execute next this turn, or play a different variation, I feel.
Back to work.
Is going to do Cruel Taskmaster Execute instead. So 2 for 1 in favor of Staz, I feel. But Staz is probably just going to drop that Twilight Drake this turn, as he's saying, okay, you took out one of my big minions, here's another one. Have fun with that. Grommash Hellscream being pulled by Aaron. And 1 Execute remaining for Aaron, so he can probably just attack into that Twilight Drake and execute it, but not too sure if he would want to. Shield Slam and an attack coming in. This is going to take care of that one. Staz replying with a Dark Bomb, so it seems like both of these players are kind of done setting up their stuff and kind of responding with each other's big cards. Aaron already wasting 1 Execute, still has 1 left, has a second Cruel Taskmaster now in his hand, so Staz bringing out the Ancient Watcher, and it's probably gonna, does he have a second one in hand? Not too sure. No, doesn't have one in hand, so probably has to work around that. Still can give it Taunt fairly soon though, so Aaron has to work around it. Also has the Alexstrasza, so if Aaron starts bulking up too much, Staz can bring him down a notch back to 15 health.
I have no time for games.
Now back to Staz, who has drawn Immortal Coil. Aaron dropping the Sylvanas Windrunner on the field, and Staz doesn't really have a way to properly take care of that one. Now Staz kind of in a sticky situation, as that Sylvanas Windrunner is probably going to take over something big soon, as Aaron can just manually execute it if really needed to. Now, Mortal Coil, meaning the card dropped there. Staz doing an excellent job of clearing out the board, and Aaron drawing into Ysera. So if we're not in the long haul previously, we're definitely in the long haul now, as both these players have drawn their big dragon. Sludge Belcher now coming in, and with the 2 mana is, of course, going to armor up, sitting at 34. Now Staz with a full hand has to do something. Iron Beak Owl probably going to come across to take care of that one, or Emperor Coruscant, just to make sure all your cards are that a little bit cheaper. Let's take a quick look at how much cards he still has in hand. Has to play something else. Can't tap, or he just has to pass turn at this point. Staz does decide to pass over turn, and essentially went plus a whole bunch, as he has 9 cards in his hand, so basically got an Emperor Coruscant for free, and then a reduced cost of 3 mana crystals, like if you do the math like that, because he reduced the costs by he just reduced the cost of the cards in his hand by 9 in total, so definitely had a lot of benefit coming in from that one. Now back to Aaron, who is taking his time, probably doesn't want to play Zera too soon considering all the cards in Staz's hand, but has to take care of that Emperor Coruscant, but looks like he is going to coin Zera just for the advantage here. And Staz is more than likely to respond with Siphon Soul coming at that point. Now if Aaron gets a good card from this one, it's going to be all worth it. Let's see what Ysera dreams of. Ysera awakens 5 damage to all characters except Ysera. Siphon Soul coming out, instantly taking care of that one. And the low Feb in response. So pretty much a very controlled game here. No aggression whatsoever. Back and forth, just taking care of each other's minions left and right. The Death Spite gonna be more than enough to take care of the low Feb in tandem with the little slime attacking, and both players with an empty board again. Aaron gonna go ahead and draw some more cards. Both of these players taking a long time here, but in the long run, if it's that kind of a game, I feel that Aaron might do a little bit better considering the cards in his deck. Unless Staz decides to save up onto that Alexstrasza for as long as possible for a sneaky play coming in. Dr. Boom now being dropped by Aaron. Or by Staz, excuse me. Aaron does have a way to take care of that one easily with attacking, and even bring out Grommash, to be honest, by just attacking with Death Spite onto Staz after dropping the Grommash, and then using the Execute on Dr. Boom. Which, well, I mean, it would cost you 2 cards, and there is still that risk that Grommash will die, but kind of worth the risk, I would say. Unless you really want to bring out the Brawl, but I feel that Brawl might be reserved a little bit better for bigger minions out on the field, because Staz didn't reveal all his giants just yet. It's probably going to play them one by one. Looks like Staz is just going to do just that, but without dropping the Grommash for the big damage. Armor Smith now being dropped. Second Armor Smith being dropped. Fiery War Axe plus an armor up coming in as well. I'm not too sure if Aaron's going to actually attack with the axe. No, he is not. So now it's the perfect time for Staz to actually bring out that Acidic Swamp Ooze, because he can get the maximum amount out of that one, destroying a weapon with 2 durability as opposed to just 1. And of course it only costs 1 mana, so there's that added benefit as well. Life tap coming in first, Hellfire being pulled by that. Staz actually did use the Hellfire, interestingly enough, just to get a Molten Giant out cheaper, I guess. Mortal Coil probably going to be flung across as well, just to draw an extra card. But no, it looks like it is going to be the Sunford Protector, and now Aaron is in a great position to use Brawl, or even Ysera Awakens at this point. I'm kind of thinking how Aaron wants to play this one out, because Aaron is slowly running behind. He needs to find a way to take care of these big minions coming out from Staz. Staz definitely has the board advantage, but Aaron can sneak in some damage with that card that he did get earlier, 5 damage sneakily coming in, and with that even, he can make sure that Grommash is enraged as well. So that's gonna be 15 quick damage. He just needs to take care of 3 damage landing on to this Molten Giant. So if he takes care of that, then he pretty much has it in the bag here. Just needs to get rid of the big taunters, which do fall. Only a Sunfury Protector remaining, and now Aaron decides to pass turn. And if Staz does not play an anti-heal bot, then that is going to be game over for him. Decides to tap Defender of Argus coming out as well. Alexstrasza burning to 15, but that is not gonna be enough. Aaron has the game in the bag, plays Grommash Hellscream, plays the Awakening card, 5 damage landing onto everything, but Grommash will be enraged for 10 damage. Aaron, after a gruesome best of 5, takes it all the way to 5 games and wins it all, moving towards the round of 8. So congratulations to Aaron, moving on towards the round of 8.